Aaron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron?
You done messed up, Aaron!
Aaron is here, everyone, reporting from the road today. We got a fun one because Scientology done messed up. David Miscavige done messed up. Anytime Scientology gets caught out lying to the court, lying to judges, lying in their filings, I can't help but feel that qualifies as you done messed up, son. So what are we talking about right now? In one of the many lawsuits against David Miscavige and Scientology, we are talking about the one currently known as Jane Doe versus David Miscavige, Church of Scientology, Gavin Potter, Bridge Publications, etc. This is a lawsuit that at its core is about SA and trafficking. And this is one of the lawsuits that David Miscavige has accepted service in. And in this particular lawsuit, one of the recent updates is that Miscavige's team made a move to get the judge kicked off of the case with a peremptory challenge after the judge issued a ruling that Miscavige didn't really like all that much. Well, Jane Doe's team in a recent filing is fighting back on that decision. And there was a number of arguments made as to why that judge should be retained on the case. Now, one of the arguments made had to do with the fact that David Miscavige personally manages all aspects of Scientology, even the Office of Special Affairs, the legal affairs, the public relations affairs, all the media affairs, and that David Miscavige has obviously known about this lawsuit since its very earliest stages. And my understanding is that the reason that argument was made is because the goal was to invalidate Scientology's argument for why they only had that this filing was made in a timely fashion. Miscavige had avoided service in this lawsuit for a long time. And then once his attorney finally made a general appearance on his behalf, I think there was a 15-day clock that started ticking. They had 15 days to issue or to make one of these peremptory challenges and get the judge kicked off. I believe the argument that about his micromanaging all aspects of the legal affairs of Scientology was to sort of invalidate that this 15-day clock should not have started ticking when it started ticking. I could be wrong about the reason for that argument, but that was my understanding when I read that document. David Miscavige's legal team has responded to that filing. I'll show you. This is the post I did on my YouTube community tab yesterday saying, David Miscavige's attorneys have just filed a preliminary opposition to petition for writ of mandamus in the Jane Doe versus David Miscavige lawsuit, claiming there is zero evidence that David Miscavige runs Scientology's Office of Special Affairs. OSA, guys, of course, is the part of Scientology's middle management, international management that runs all of Scientology's legal affairs. It also is the dirty tricks department of Scientology. They hire the lawyers who hire the private investigators, who hire the thugs, who stalk, harass, and intimidate people who speak out against Scientology or sue them. My post says, here are two documents from Mike Rinder's OSA files that prove David Miscavige not only personally runs OSA, but he's the only one who ever gets anything done. And guys, if you want to download those documents for yourself, you can go to my YouTube community page, my community tab, and the Google Drive links to those documents are right there. Now, I want to show you a section of David Miscavige's filing here that says, although petitioner makes no supporting argument, her petition falsely contends that David Miscavige personally oversees all aspects of Scientology and as such is purportedly indistinguishable from the other defendants. Petitioner has no such evidence and cites nothing. Her petition was verified only by her lawyer, Dominic Cognata, who has no basis to make any such statements, even though he falsely purports to attest under penalty of perjury that the facts alleged in the petition are within his knowledge. In any event, petitioner chose to sue Mr. Miscavige individually. Thus, Mr. Miscavige has the rights of all other parties. This includes his right to assert a peremptory challenge, given that no other defendant previously made one. Okay, so what am I talking about when I say here are two documents from Mike Rinder's OSA files? Mike Rinder, when he was in Scientology, was the head of OSA. He was the head of the Office of Special Affairs. At one point, for a long time, he was the commanding officer of the Office of Special Affairs International. Subsequent to that, he held an even more senior position near the very, very top of the Scientology org chart, called Watchdog Committee Member for the Office of Special Affairs, or WDC OSA. It really is one of the most senior positions in Scientology, answering directly to David Miscavige, even though the Scientology org chart makes it look like he might have had someone else between him and David Miscavige. In practice, Mike Rinder has said that he answered directly to David Miscavige. So when Mike Rinder escaped from 7, he took with him a thumb drive that had thousands of documents of his own work product on them. Some of this work product was in the draft stages, and some of this was completed work product that had already been approved and adopted as official Scientology policy, or as David Miscavige approved Scientology orders. So that's what we're talking about when we say OSA documents. I think for those of you who have heard these documents referred to, some might have been under the impression that he basically just took a trove of documents from OSA. And really, these are just his own documents. These are documents he all created with his own hands digitally on his computer, and that's why he had them on his thumb drive. So I've got a copy of all of those files, and going through them, looking for evidence proving that David Miscavige personally runs the Office of Special Affairs, despite the fact that, technically speaking, he is so far up and removed from the real org board of Scientology that Scientology tries to convince the courts is the true and correct structure of the Church of Scientology International. David Miscavige should theoretically have absolutely nothing to do personally with the Office of Special Affairs. Mike Rinder's own documents show otherwise, and I'm going to show that to you right now and do my best to explain these documents, because Scientologies can be a little tough to navigate through. Okay, this is something that's called an evaluation. In Scientology, an evaluation is a procedure done by a member of management to review a situation that has, a situation in Scientology is the most major departure from an ideal scene. An ideal scene is the way something should be in a perfect world. And L. Ron Hubbard does seem to think that everyone should be striving for perfection at all times. So when a senior Scientology manager sits down to do an evaluation, they're trying to find what is the biggest problem and how can that biggest problem be most efficiently handled with the resources that already exist. So let's take a look. This is Mike Rinder's work product. This is from 2004. Situation 1, OSA long-term unhandled danger condition. In Scientology, a danger condition is a condition whereby the people responsible for an activity are constantly screwing it up, and so the seniors over the activity have to come in and personally handle it themselves. Okay, there's just a bunch of standard Scientology boilerplate that appears at the beginning of these evaluations. We'll get to the actual meat and potatoes of this thing down here. Okay, here it goes. Situation. Despite gaining experience in the wars that have been led and won by COB. Guys, COB means David Miscavige. COB stands for Chairman of the Board. David Miscavige is known in Scientology as Chairman of the Board of RTC, the Religious Technology Center. So in Scientology, he's known as COB-RTC, but usually it's just referred to as COB. So despite gaining experience in the wars that have been led and won by David Miscavige and 7 reorgs to upgrade its operation, that just means a reorganization, OSA has never arrived at the point of being responsible for its own situations and continues to allow the major actions to fly up to David Miscavige to work out and execute the handlings as if they belong there and as if it is his hat to work these out and get them done. You guys are going to notice that a lot of these things that get written by senior Scientology managers have to be written in a way that includes just fawning and dripping praise for His Holiness David Miscavige. Okay, then they review some statistics. David Miscavige's stats of major battles handled include, but are not limited to, IRS, total exemption for all churches of Scientology, Interpol, total victory with Interpol distributing the What is Scientology book to all of its national bureaus, Clearwater, Florida area control, and concluded the Clearwater case. That must mean Lisa McPherson. Nightline, Portland case. That's Portland, Oregon. I think that's back in the late 70s, maybe very early 80s. I think it was late 70s. There was a civil case that went against Scientology. Massive. What is it when they call the jury awarded a massive award in that case, and it was going to bankrupt Scientology, and Scientology managed to, through various shenanigans, get the award greatly reduced. Trademark cases, celebrity center gala event with major impact on opinion leader publics. The OSA International gross divisional statistics show thousands of situations handled, but several major attackers and situations going on for years without terminated handlings. The French penal cases, Caberta, that's Ursula Caberta, Stam or Stam, I don't know who that is, Jerry Armstrong, Google, Net, N Theta. N Theta means negative information about Scientology. I don't know what FECRA stands for. David Turetsky is a college professor from Canada who is a pain in Scientology's butt. Specifically looking at unhandled key attackers for Europe shows the following. Oh, look at this. Amazing. So a whole list of things that weren't being handled. Here's where it gets juicy, guys. Data. Over the past 15 years, David Miscavige has had to personally single-hand every major war after OSA failed to handle them. Single-handing is sort of a seamanship term that L. Ron Hubbard adopted and used in Scientology, where he said that L. Ron Hubbard claimed that he himself was personally capable of running a giant ship just by himself, running from post to post or station to station to I don't know, navigate and operate a ship. So handling a large, complicated activity by yourself without any help is a phrase in Scientology called single-handing. Who knows? Maybe that's a real phrase in the real world, but I only know the phrase from Scientology. Okay, so David Miscavige has had to personally single-hand every major war after OSA failed to handle them. The main ones include the resolution of the Christofferson case, the handling of the IRS resulting in full exemption, Time magazine article, and all related situations, Interpol, trademark cases, Clearwater civil and criminal cases, the Bob Minton handling, the St. Petersburg Times articles, and more. While these major handlings have been ongoing directly by David Miscavige, the OSA staff has been, quote unquote, helping or watching as spectators. Yet the actions that have been done are explicitly per the most basic OSA references: Department of Government Affairs, Department of Official Affairs, attacks on Scientology, targets defense, etc. These are just lists of some OSA references. This continues to present time, when more recently, David Miscavige had to personally take actions to reorganize the Citizens Commission for Human Rights International, which is nowhere in terms of eradicating psychiatry, and personally handling the UK Home Office. God, that's really funny. I thought David Miscavige was just an ecclesiastical leader who concerned himself with the purity of the Scientology technology. As the holder of the Dianetics and Scientology trademarks, what in the world would David Miscavige be doing personally dealing with things such as these, for which Scientology has hundreds and hundreds of Sea Org members dedicated to doing those jobs? I wonder, it's almost like David Miscavige's exalted position as the chairman of the board of Religious Technology Center is just kind of a myth that exists. It's just a title. It doesn't actually mean anything at all other than he is the sole dictator of the international multi-billion-dollar human trafficking cult known as Scientology. There is nothing in Scientology, no matter how small, no matter how minor, that David Miscavige does not concern himself with. And primary amongst all of these things is law suits. So the argument that Jane Doe's team is making in this case is entirely correct. Okay, now I'm going to share with you a different article from 2 years later. And it's interesting. The first article that I shared with you, I'm calling it an article, but a document. This is a completed work product. Let me show you where I'm getting this from. Oh, check out. Can you see? This has actually been assigned a number. This is OSA Int evaluation order 90. So even someone as senior as Mike Rinder, he can type these things up, but he doesn't have the authority to officially approve them and adopt them as official. I'm trying to get all the way to the bottom here, you guys. I'm sorry. It's a very long document. I'm even sick of scrolling through it, so I'm not going to make you watch. So senior science. Here's the other evidence that this is a completed work product. This is Church of Scientology International, CSI, AVC International. That's Authorization, Verification, and Correction Unit International. That is a branch of RTC. AVC International is Division 5 of RTC. RTC is the organization David Miscavige is in charge of legally. So Division 5 is quality control. And at the RTC level, they call Division 5 AVC Int. That is the organization responsible for reviewing any proposed policies, orders, programs, verifying that they are in accordance with L. Ron Hubbard policy and officially approving them. So CSI, AVC Int, CO OSA Int, okay? CO, the commanding officer of the Office of Special Affairs International, and then LH and LH. Usually that is is it the initials of the I got to double check that one. Okay. So, but you can see here it was written by CO OSA Int, authorized by AVC International for the Church of Scientology International. Okay. And only once an issue, look, I'm making you watch me scroll through it again. Only once an issue is approved by AVC Int to be actually issued is it assigned a number, whether it's a bulletin number or a program number or an order number. And so because this has all the signatories on the bottom, and because it says OSA Int eval order 90, that's a finished approved work product. The second one that we're going to look at, it's interesting. It's not an approved work product. It's something Mike was working on in March of 2006, and it does contain a lot of the same language. But I thought it was interesting to see that what he was proposing, even 2 years later, said pretty much the exact same thing. Okay, so this is called the OSA On Purpose Eval. On purpose in Scientology means you're dedicated to the job. You have no other fish to fry. You're giving it your full intention, and you don't have any disagreements with what's being done. And this is an evaluation that was being put together to basically find out, why is OSA not on purpose, and how do we get OSA on purpose? Again, here's some of the standard boilerplate that appears at the beginning of all these evaluations. The situation: instead of creating the indispensability of Scientology, OSA remains flaps crossroads. And while major international situations are handled on a bypass, they create new situations through off-policy actions. That's crazy. How could some of Scientology's most senior managers be so incompetent and untrained that they're constantly creating new situations through off-policy actions? It's almost as if everyone's just running around with their heads cut off, doing whatever urgent order David Miscavige is coming down from David Miscavige at this point in time. And then when everything goes to shit, everyone has to act like they're the problem, because no one's allowed to say that David Miscavige is the problem. Okay, the statistics. Oh, this is amazing. Wow. OSA, gross divisional statistics, total outstanding liabilities are uptrending from 125 million in 1996 to only 10.5 million in present time. Oh, wow. Amazing. I wonder what liabilities they're talking about there. Is that specifically legal liability? Because I know that's not debt. OSA gross divisional statistics. Profitable images. This is images that are profitable to L. Ron Hubbard, like almost like impressions. New statistic implemented in March 2005 has been a normal trend. In Scientology, a normal trend means it's slightly up. And then, despite major N theta attacks, such as the hits during the summer and fall of 2005, guys, that's when Tom Cruise went beast mode on Hollywood. That's referring to all the crap that blew up when Tom Cruise yelled at Matt Lauer and he jumped on OSA's couch. That actually hurt Scientology's statistics, or at least the statistics of the Office of Special Affairs. Okay, despite major N theta attacks, such as the hits during summer and fall of 2005, or the recent LA Times and Rolling Stones stories. Oh, that's great. That stat is a false representation of the scene, as the stat contains no penalty for N theta media. Oh, I see. So they're saying that our new statistics of profitable images actually continued to go up, even though we were basically being dragged majorly by every media outlet in the world during 2005. And so they realized that they need to have a penalty for negative stuff. That's amazing. Okay, let's see. That's not terribly interesting. Oh, look at this. OSA International was spending $90,000 a week for external expenses. This was cut in December 2004 to $60,000 a week. New media situations routinely coming up and not being handled at OSA International. Psychiatry and Big Pharma make billions and more every year while drugging the entire planet. No, say it isn't so. Now, here's what's interesting. This language is almost identical to the 2004 document. And so, I don't know, maybe just copied and pasted it, because who the hell's paying attention? Data. For over 20 years, David Miscavige has had to personally single-hand every major war after OSA failed to handle them, including Christo, U.S. damages case, the IRS, Time, Lilly, Interpol, trademark cases, Clearwater civil and criminal cases, SP Times, UK Charity, and the Spanish recognition. While these handlings have been done directly by David Miscavige, the OSA staff has been at best helping, and at worst, totally disassociated and uninvolved. This is a little different. David Miscavige applies Scientology tech to handling situations and does not rely on quote unquote attorneys to formulate strategy or to handle major actions. When involved, the attorneys are always in a subservient role. Now, there's a procedure to doing what they call an evaluation in Scientology. And one of these is what you see at the bottom here is they've assigned David Miscavige a correct target, which is called a plus point. And they've assigned OSA International an omitted handling, which is called an out point. Wow. Okay, let me very briefly stroll through this and see if they kiss David Miscavige's ass anymore in these ones here. No, they just... they've shifted from kissing ass to throwing other people under the bus. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So that's all we'll do on that. I mean, there you go, guys. It is going to be very interesting to see if David Miscavige can successfully convince a judge, because this is what happens in these cases over and over and over again. The judges don't know any better. And due to the type of religious recognition that Scientology has from the IRS, judges are not even allowed to attempt to read and interpret Scientology policy to try to get to the truth of the matter. It is considered protected religious scripture. And to any Scientologist in the world, this is like the biggest joke ever. Scientologists pretend to use these religious words because they know it puts up like this impenetrable shield that the judicial system cannot break through. And this has, for the most part, what has allowed Scientology to get rulings in their favor on the enforceability of their internal religious arbitration agreements. Is up until just recently, no judge would even venture to try and interpret whether these contracts were even in accordance with contract law. Was there any mutuality, for example, in the contracts? Was it favored so that only one party was the beneficiary of all of the stipulations in the contracts? I do believe that tide is starting to turn. I did one video about that a few weeks ago. I'll revisit it the next time it comes up and is applicable. But once again, what we have here is David Miscavige pretending like, what, me? Involved in day-to-day affairs of Scientology? Your Honor, my pearls, I do declare I'm offended. So anyhow, I know these documents aren't widely available to the public, but sometime soon I believe that they will be. But at least me making these documents available in my community post yesterday, I hope there's something that can be done with these. Because I'll tell you what, as long as Scientology is able to keep pulling the wool over the eyes of judges, there's almost nothing that they can't get away with, honestly. And the time to that, we got to put a stop to that. It's time for that to end. All right, guys, that might be it. No, that's not going to be it for me today. I'm going to be going up to L. Ron Hubbard Way, folks. We're going to be joining DOA. I saw those hamburgers. I saw those hot dogs. I'm hungry, hungry hippo. I want some of that barbecue. So I hope Laura's, I don't know if Laura's back from Austin yet, but I hope that she is. I hope, so guys, I mean, I'm throwing it out there right now. I'm thinking maybe sometime between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. ish. I'm hoping to be, show up there on L. Ron Hubbard Way for some good old fashioned SPTV barbecue. So if any of you guys want to come out, I'd love to see you guys there. Let's see. Ken's channel, Scientology lying, my pearls. Joni Cummings, welcome as a channel member. SP Hoovian Sherry, I got my SPTV shirt. Fantastic. I'm glad you got it. I hope you like it. Love is Love says, I'm now protesting in Utah, and it's crazy so far. At Crazy Love is Love is the channel. I love what you do. Keep up the work. Thank you, Love is Love. And congratulations on your channel. You know, I'm not in any huge rush here. Let me just pull up your channel right now and subscribe. So give me a sec. Love is Love. Uh-oh, that didn't work. Wait. You said, oh, Crazy Love is Love. Sorry. At Crazy Love is Love. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do before we end off, guys. Don't leave yet, okay? I'm going to pull up. Oh, there you are. Okay, cool. I just subscribed. I am going to pull up sptv.space, okay? And I'm going to see who's live. And we're going to do a raid on their channel. Let's see. Okay. Let's pick one that I don't know yet. Okay, so let me share this with you guys. So first of all, I'm going to share sptv.space with you guys. Oh, wait. There's more. Ken's channel says, Nightline was a major battle won? You mean handing Ted Koppel an Emmy Award for brilliantly by giving Dave his own shovel to dig his own grave? Got it. Yeah, can you believe they considered that a victory? Okay, so check this out, guys. We're going to have a little bit of fun. On the sptv.space website, it shows 3 channels are live. I'm going to go to MD Media 18. Okay? MD Media 18 is live right now. So when I end this stream, and actually, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to go to my back office, and I am going to set this video up to redirect to his video if I can. Give me 1 second to try and figure this out. Oh, I should have done this before. Settings, channel, upload, community, agreements, general channel. That's not going to work. Customization. Oh, yeah. Customization. Add a redirect. Yes, add a redirect. Okay, search from videos. Okay, blue. Come on now. Blue building and test center as well. There we go. Okay, guys. So we're going to go do a raid on MD Media 18's channel jump over into his live chat and say, we're rating you from growing up in Scientology. And as soon as I end this stream, you guys will all actually be redirected over there, all 2,300 of you guys. Let's see. This is going to be a fun way to promote channels. I'm going to redirect my live streams to channels who are live. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this afternoon. Thank you, as always, to everyone who watches until the very end. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, oh, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here.